Hi, Mandy.
Down.
Hello and welcome, everyone. It is Thursday night, November the 4th. We are in November. I can't even believe it. This is episode number 76 of the podcast. And I am Jen. This is my son, Dan. And every Thursday, 7:30-ish, we jump on here and just talk about whatever is happening, whatever we feel like talking about. We give you some Six Flags Great Adventure updates about what's going on with us and the channel. And then we usually have some type of topic that we jump into. And tonight we are talking Squid Game. But before we get to Squid Game, how you doing over there, sleepyhead?
I'm not tired. I'm sore. Can we
Okay,
get
he's
this
sore.
the hell along, please?
Okay, do we get an official welcome or?
No, I can't. My throat.
Okay,
actually is a
so
little too sore for that.
what?
No, you leave.
Yeah.
You horrible demon child.
Welcome.
I hate you.
Welcome to the.
No.
Oh.
No! Damn it! That's my thing.
No, it's allowed to welcome you to the podcast.
Bastards.
In Dan style,
You
except Dan apparently.
Stupid bastard people.
I am chilly tonight, so I have on my heavy sweater. And
What's in your cup?
Yeah, what are you drinking over there, man?
What's in your cup?
I got coffee in my
Okay,
cup.
no one cares about coffee. I went daring and I have game fuel. This is cherry something blast
My
or
Mickey
whatever.
cup. Oh, hello there, Tigger.
Charged cherry blast. This stuff is addicting. Don't drink it.
Yes, you did. But first, I've got
Ooh, capsules. What's up, bruh?
I've got some Holiday in the Park news I just want to share first, and then we are going to jump into talking about Squid Game. Oh my word. Okay, so real quick. Holiday in the Park will start November 13th and go through January 2nd. No reservations required for Holiday in the Park like there were for Fright Fest. So there's some new things this year. Festive Fireside, bathed in a warm red, orange, and yellow glow. This new section will boast a triple record-breaking Jersey Devil coaster. So there's going to be a new area over by Jersey Devil.
More importantly, what does that even mean? What
and
are
there's
they actually doing?
Hold on. A hot new character, Crispy Sizzle.
Yeah, I get the stupid joke. It's garbage. No
will
one cares.
welcome guests with his spicy wit.
I'm not in the mood for season.
So let's see. So
Whatever
then
the
there's
hell
going to
this
be
is.
like s'mores over there and stuff like that.
Cool. So we have a new character, Pretty Lights, over by Jersey Devil.
And there's more light shows. There's going to be some new light shows every 15 minutes. And Merry Marketplace, Merry light show trees will come to life as their lights dance to a whimsical soundtrack.
Sure.
And Santa will be over there. And this is the Jolly Jamboree section that was last year in the catering area. So that's going to be now the Merry Marketplace. And they're going to do a light show every 15 minutes. Let's see. In Wild Lights National Park, the Wilderness Theater stage will sparkle every 30 minutes during Mrs. Claus's Wild Lights. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be a light show over there too.
Okay, what? We need to hurry up with the news because people want Squid Game.
We are going to get to it.
This is why we don't title podcasts.
We just started, yeah, but it's a good thing. And get this. This is actually really cool. Deck the halls with Doc Swan. Doc Swan is the magician guy at Fright Fest. Well, he's going to be there for Christmas too, which I thought was pretty cool.
So is he going to kill somebody in the middle of?
And there's going to be street entertainment with elves on patrol.
Expected.
Of course, Jersey Devil Coaster and Little Devil Coaster will both be open during Holiday in the Park, weather permitting.
Couldn't care less.
Well, I'm just putting that. And Frost is coming back. So Frost will be back. I'm very excited. I love that show.
That doesn't mean anything to me. Haven't seen it once.
The Holiday Mirror Maze will be back. Okay, they are also bringing back the drive-through Christmas lights thing. But they changed it up. They changed up the way that you're coming in. You're coming in through Ka now.
Uh-huh.
And so it's a new trail basically that you're driving through.
Yep.
And the Winter Wizard will join the drive-through experience.
Yay, that means nothing to me still.
Well,
I don't know.
He's new. And they're also doing a walkthrough experience after the drive-through. If you want, you can go to the Merry Marketplace with all the lighting and all of that. And there's going to be Holiday Festival will serve piping hot holiday fare. So it makes it sound like that's happening, like that there will be food, that the holiday feast will be back, and that even during the drive-through you can get out, walk around that area, and even eat there. So I think that's really cool.
That's
I know you're trying to get to it, and everybody wants to know about it.
Well, yeah, people already left because you're talking about Six Flags, and you titled it Squid Game, so it looks like you're clickbaiting.
And I said, I said in the beginning,
no one was
get
here
through
for that.
First.
Literally 0 people.
Okay, well, Capsules was here. So that is basically, that's the gist of it.
Cool.
Let's put it that way. Reservations do have to be made for the drive-through experience.
That literally just sounds like Holiday in the Park to me.
It is Holiday in the Park, but there's some additional things, and things are coming back, and I wanted to get that out there. Okay, so.
Okay, more importantly, we're on to the real...
Capsules, you're so strange.
We're on to the real meat and potatoes.
All right, so here we go. Let's talk Squid Game. So I watched it over the course of maybe 3 days, I think.
I watched it all in one sitting.
Yes. So,
I will kind of let you lead this, I think.
Okay, well, I mean, if you don't know what Squid Game is, it is a Netflix series, 1 season so far.
Yes, 9 episodes, and it kind of... The closest thing you could actually relate this to, which I'm surprised nobody has brought up, is the Saw movies.
See, and I think it's closer related to Hunger Games.
Not compared to Saw, no.
Honestly, I mean, I've never seen Saw, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But to me, this was a lot like Hunger Games because...
There are certain plot points that actually follows very closely to Saw toward the end.
Because it was like an adult version of Hunger Games because
an adult version of children murdering each other.
Only one person is coming out.
Sure. But that's not like a guarantee, I don't think. I'm glad this is my hell.
So,
Miku. Come on. You stupid animal.
Miku, what do you have? Why are you doing that?
I hate
Oh my
animals.
gosh, she's insane.
I'm gonna kill everyone in this
insane.
house.
So, basically, the people that are targeted in this are people who
are in financial debt.
Are in super duper crazy amounts of debt. And
I think
they're basically in financial ruin. So they play on the fact that, well, you need money. Come play these games with us. But what they don't know going in is that if you don't win the game, you get killed. Like, it was crazy. Like, so for the first game, so they played all childhood games. And the first game they played was red light, green light. And you know, when you play red light, green light, if you move after red light, you're out. Well, you weren't just out, you were dead. Like, man, it was violent. That was violent.
That really wasn't all that violent.
Oh, I thought it was.
I think the only reason I didn't find it to be that violent was because, we'll get into that. I hate that we're already kind of talking about the games themselves.
Well,
basically,
where do we go from there then?
If you need a simple breakdown of the show, it follows a few individuals in particular over the group of
400 and
something like that.
56?
Yeah, 456. You're right. Over a group of 456 people, and they are slowly being eliminated, even though they all technically have the chance to survive. And in doing so, the every time somebody dies, the jackpot gets bigger, as well as you start figuring out how they are getting the money for this massive jackpot of like $46 billion plus dollars.
Well,
now hold on.
but I do have a question about that. Keep going, but I have a question about that.
We'll get into specifics in a minute. Anyway, while all this is going on, you have this pretty cool B plot of a cop trying to find his brother, and the whole thing just reeks of Jigsaw Saw vibes, which I love. So, now
you know what? Real quick though, if anybody watching this hasn't seen it yet and you don't want it spoiled, just stop watching,
straight up
because we are not.
We are going to.
What we just told you there really wasn't anything spoily, but like from here on out, there could be a ton of spoilers. If you haven't seen it and you don't want to know the spoilers, just turn this off and come watch it later. You can hear our thoughts later after you've watched it yourself.
Okay, so let's talk about. I guess let's go episode by episode. So first episode, general thoughts. What were you thinking throughout?
Well, I thought it was really violent.
Okay.
And
sure.
I didn't think that, at first, I didn't think that, being eliminated from the game meant you were dead. So that was like, okay, so this is how it's going to go.
I knew the second somebody got shot in that first game, everyone was going to panic, which was going to be hilarious, and I was right.
But I liked it. I especially liked the old man was I just thought he was so adorable, and I thought it was cute how, I don't know their names because I can't pronounce their names, but how the main character...
Well, all right, he's Gihun.
Okay, so how Gihun, I can't say these things,
Sure.
but how he sort of took a liking to this old man and kind of... felt bad for him and felt like, maybe he needed to try to protect him a little bit. You could tell that he just, he connected with him. And, I think that he felt bad as things were going on, and he realized that, if I'm going to win, this guy has to die. And I think that was, and we'll definitely get into that a little bit more.
Sure.
So, at one point, so that the rules of Squid Game are, you can't refuse to play.
Yeah, 3 rules. Can't refuse to play. If a player refuses to play, then they are eliminated. And if the majority of players wish, they can stop the game. They can vote to stop.
Right. So that actually did happen.
Doing well, Michael.
The voting to stop did happen.
Well, we'll kind of get into that. I was kind of hoping we'd do a little bit more of a direct flow, but that's okay. Real fast, just for a full,
what else do you have to say about the first episode?
Well, I think the best way to do this is to go by order of events, because I was actually curious as to what you thought of the whole him betting on horses and going through that route.
Oh, okay. So seeing his life prior to.
Because honestly, that messed with me more than anything. That one scene, especially when he's getting his ass beat in the bathroom and he realizes the money was stolen from him. I'm just sitting there like, this sucks.
Yeah.
They're really
well, it sets up.
It does. Very nicely.
It sets up his issue perfectly because he won this money. This money was what he needed, and clearly it wasn't enough to pay back what he owed.
Sure.
But an
amount they would have accepted.
Right.
Sure.
He definitely he was kind of on the right track a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, but he clearly has a gambling problem.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why it was so easy for them.
Yes.
To say, well, this guy,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was definitely good setup, and it was good setup to, get him to go into the game as well, because he wouldn't have, if he wasn't just had the crap beat out of him.
Real fast, for context as well, because this is going to come up later, I'm sure. I watched it in Korean, and she watched it in English.
Yes.
This is kind of important for later, because there's some, what's the word I'm looking for? Implied backstory for one of the characters.
Okay, yeah.
That I'm still kind of playing around with myself.
Okay, well, so now let's get to the part where everybody is pretty much like blown away by the fact that everybody just got killed. Like, all these people just got killed. Like, what, a couple hundred?
Yeah,
something like
literally
that.
half. And real fast,
Yeah.
right before this, the way he gets introduced into the game, I think is really interesting, because this dude meets him at the train station, and he thinks he's Jehovah's Witness or something. And
this is after he had gotten beaten up, lost all of his money and everything.
He then goes and he's like, no. Just play a game with me and I'll give you money, knowing this guy doesn't have money to pay him if he loses. And I forget the name of the game, but basically you take these very well folded piece of paper, you put yours on the ground, you slam the other on top, and you hope it flips over. And it takes a couple hundred tries of him getting slapped in the face as payment for each loss to finally win. Which is like, woof. And he even gives him like first try. He's trying. Basically, the whole thing is him just trying to show him, look, man, I'm the good guy here. I'll give you first. I'll give you all the advantages you want. And he never picked up on the fact that he was still getting destroyed. So he eventually hands him this card, tells him to call the number if he wants to play more games for bigger amounts of money.
Right.
And in doing so, he calls the number on the card. He gets brought into a van and then gassed. That's the part that I think is really interesting. So they knock everyone out in this van. You later find out what's actually fully happening. We'll get into that later. And then all of a sudden you're in this facility, God knows where, and there's these guys wearing masks with shapes on them. I'm gonna kill the damn dog. But yeah, so this is when you get into the first game, and it winds up being red light, green light, and everybody's like, "Are you serious? All right, can you please? Where is she?
She's over there.
I'm gonna kill her. I don't
know what it is that
it's
she's
a bottle
showing.
or something. I can't listen to this.
Yeah, she's nuts. So, well, let's get to the point where.
So anyway, red light, green light starts.
Right. Well, everybody is basically blown away that they just lost half of the competitors, and they didn't realize that this is what it was going to be.
I'm gonna kill her.
I'll get her. But let's get to the point where they decide to all opt out.
Yes. So basically, they just watch.
Good girl.
God knows how many people die. Literally 200 plus people die. And only who knows how many are left. I think it's like 206 or something like that.
Something like that.
It gets put up on a board every time someone dies, the number goes down. And this whole time, you have one dude in particular overseeing the whole thing. And so they all start kind of revolting, like, what the hell? You didn't tell us people were going to die.
Right. So they get to a point where they're like, okay, well, one of the rules is if we all vote on it, if the majority wants to end the game, then we do that. Let's vote.
Ji-hoon's best friend is the one who steps up and makes that point, which is a very important character throughout the series. So he's like, rule number 3, we don't have to play, do we? And, they're like, you're right. Come on, let's vote. Let's do this. And so they are, fair to their rules, which is something.
And it literally comes down to the last vote, because wasn't it 100? It was 100 and 101, so there were 201
Yes.
people left. So it literally comes down to the last vote, and the last vote is the old man.
Yeah.
And the old man explains to our hero that he has a brain tumor. It's inoperable.
And this was prior to the first game.
Yeah, this was all when they first started
This is
getting
why
to
I
know
wanted
each
to
other.
do all
But to go through that's a lot to go through 9 episodes. So
just the
so
primary
I'm
story
thinking that he might just be like, the heck with it. I have nothing to lose. I'm going to keep playing. But he didn't. He voted to end the game. And so they end, and they put them all back in the vans. They gas them again so that they don't know where they were.
Right.
And throw them out. Isn't that when they threw them out on the street, like basically naked?
Yeah.
And then threw their clothes out and stuff?
Yeah.
So they had to get like dressed in the middle of the street and stuff.
Well,
It was kind of funny.
and they were hog-tied.
That's
So
right.
They did
That's
not
right.
have
I forgot about that.
Honestly, I don't know how the hell anyone did anything, but they were in pairs. So, real fast, this is important to break down as well, and this is kind of crucial. So, Gi-hun gets paired up indirectly with the girl who pickpocketed him earlier in the gas station.
Train station.
Train station, whatever. Gi-hun's best friend, he
was
gets paired up with Abdul.
The Pakistani guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abdul.
I liked him.
Well, I guess you didn't have to say that right away. But yeah, he winds up dying. Yay. So, and that to me was the saddest death of that game. So yeah, he gets paired up with Abdul. They wind up untying each other, and they get along. They get along quite nicely. He winds up helping out Abdul quite a bit, etc. And yeah.
Well, so basically they all go back to their lives and realize that, yeah, this sucks. I really need to go back into the game. So they were all afforded another chance to go back in.
Which they were warned that they were going to be.
Right.
However, it is important to note that Gi-hun went to the police station prior to all that happening.
Right.
So let's get important story beats out of the way first.
That's right.
Gi-hun goes to the police station.
And they thought that he was absolutely insane.
Correct. And he leaves the police station the card.
The original card.
The original one that was given to him. He doesn't have a new one yet. And on his way out, this cop is walking in. Cool story, bro. So he starts looking for his brother. He eventually gets to his brother's supposed location and finds a similar card. So now he knows what's actually going on. And he's going to start his hunt. Okay, so while all this is going on, you have Abdul and Gi-hun's best friend, who are at a convenience store.
Yeah. And
his best friend let him borrow his phone after they got some charge on it. They're making good on each other. Cool. He gives him some bus money, which is important for later, very important. And then it cuts back to Ji-hun. Or, no, that's the point where it cuts back to the girl, the pickpocket. And you find out what she's been doing the whole time, which is seeing her little brother. And clearly something's up with their parents. They might be dead. You don't know yet. Yeah, they're dead. And she is sheltering him. Cool. So she winds up going back into the game with everybody else, and Ji-hun, right before getting back into the game, gets stopped by the cop who is waiting for him at his place, and he tries going, "Hey man, I know the game is real. We need to talk. I can help, blah, blah, blah." He's like, "Nope, I was just going on drunken rant. No, I'm crazy. Sorry, bye." So then he walks up to his door and notices he has a new card. They wind up meeting up again. This time they're all prepared to get gassed, and one of them was smart enough to not get gassed. Actually, no, there's one more story beat. Deko So, he, right before getting back into the game as well, he wound up getting almost murdered because of some stuff that happened in a casino. And so therefore he murdered at one point someone who would have been his lesser than. And so then he killed the guy. There's like 3 guys on either side of them. They're on this bridge, and he's like, "Welcome to Korea," and jumps off the bridge and does a "see you later. You almost caught Captain Jack Sparrow." And they go on to the second game. So there's a lot of like interweaved relationships happening. That's a lot to soak in like one episode, really. So they all get back in, and you find out that 93% of them are back.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I lost my damn mind, because all this information is being relayed to you through this character known as the front man, who is the guy that wears the black mask, if you've seen it and don't remember. So he shows up, and he finds out all the information. Cool. He starts walking around the corner, like into his little office-y area, and picks up a phone. And if you're watching in Korean, this is where you learn that he's bilingual. He speaks fluent, I almost said American, fluent English and Korean. That has to mean something. Like, there's something
See,
to that.
I don't think that means squat. I think we need to move on to what the next game was, though.
Anyway.
We're too much detail. We're going to be here for 2 hours if we continue with
highly disagree. But
well, I can't stay on that long.
Sure.
I'm going to have to go.
So anyway, but that has to mean something. No other character is like that in the show.
I don't think it does. So game 2.
Anyway, yeah. So then we move on to game 2.
Oh, and the old man comes back into the game too, which I was surprised about.
I was not. Oh, that's why I was trying. The old man met Gi-hoon in between the thing.
Right. Out in the world.
Yeah, out in the world. Anyway, so now you have game 2, which is which one? I don't remember.
Tug of War.
Yes. No.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me just look up the order so I don't forget.
Yeah, game 2 was Tug of War.
Okay.
And didn't they split themselves up? They split themselves up in groups, didn't they?
Yes, it was groups of 10.
Yeah, but didn't they split themselves up, right? They had to find people to work with them.
Yeah.
I thought they split themselves up. They weren't split up.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So they were picking people, and this
like none of them wanted girls on their team and stuff.
However, this is where you learn about the doctor, who is not only a contestant but also working for the game, which is something I really wish.
Kinda, sorta, because it looked like that was a side thing, that it wasn't supposed to be happening, but it was, so that the red suit guys could make more money.
Yeah, so I really wish they went more in depth on that, or maybe I just missed something because I was so focused on everything else. Regardless, that was an awesome just set.
Yeah.
So why don't you talk about Tug of War while I... Oh my god!
Miku!
She's chasing the cat. Cindy came down the stairs, I guess. I don't know.
Oh my lord.
Anyway.
Miku, come here.
No, don't tell her to come here. She's not gonna listen.
You come here and lay down. You lay down. Miku.
She's not gonna listen. Can we talk?
She's insane.
Talk about the thing.
So Tug of War was basically, they were elevated. I don't know how many feet. Maybe, I don't know how high.
Wait, maybe it was this 1 second, because I was pretty sure that was number 3. The third one, or the second one, I'm pretty sure was Honeycomb. Yeah, it
The
was
second
honeycomb.
one was honeycomb?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
I'm not
Second
crazy.
game. Second game was honeycomb.
Third game was Tug of War.
Okay, so the honeycomb.
Honeycomb was awesome, and I loved that so much.
That was actually pretty cool, but it was very intense. So they all had to choose a symbol, and
you had square, triangle, star, and umbrella.
Circle, triangle.
Yes, circle, triangle,
star and umbrella.
Yes.
So, then you had to poke out the shape out of the honeycomb without breaking it.
Using a pin. Which, by the way,
yeah.
So the entire time that game was happening, and this is just a little side note, I definitely had like some weird reminiscent memory. I'm pretty sure I've done that in elementary school.
Maybe, but anyway,
it's just cool. I would love to do that again.
So that was less intense.
It was very intense.
Well, it was intense
because Gi-hun got umbrella, and that scene is where you find out that his best friend is a piece of garbage.
Well, yeah, because he knew what the game was.
What the game was.
He could tell what the game was.
He's a piece of human garbage.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he was a jerk.
Yeah.
But
anyway, yeah, a jerk. Let me send my best friend off to the slaughterhouse.
Yeah. So, jerk. Anyway, that one wasn't as intense for the viewer, I don't think.
I think that one was for me.
It was a little intense, but it was not as intense for the viewer. So I forget how many people died during that one.
Only a few, actually.
Yeah,
because
it wasn't that many.
There also weren't that many left. So what's kind of important to mention is, a couple people are cheating with a lighter, and Ji-hoon figured out the trick.
Right.
Which is to lick the back.
Lick it.
Because it will wear out quicker than the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And as with every other game, he just narrowly makes it.
Yes.
So good on him. And he wound up keeping the old man in the game that way.
Yes.
Indirectly.
Yes.
Which is a really bizarre thing to think about, by the way, but... Alright, so then we get into...
Game number 3.
Tug of... Did anything important... No, in between, it is important to mention the, they did the whole lights out thing. So they tried making them fight each other, basically.
Was that that night?
Yeah, that was that night.
Okay, so basically there was, like, a lot of tension going on, and,
they stressed everyone out in order to make them fight each other.
There were, like, groups that were, like, going after each other in the middle of the night, and then a bunch of people died that night.
Yeah, and the old man was, like, 3 stories up on a mattress, which, that's when you find out, for some people, unless if you're me and you find out first game, cool, good on you, that's when you find out he's kind of signaling to the people high up as if he kind of is...
Which I never thought.
Controlling everything, maybe.
Right. But anyway, so there was like, it was kind of like a gang fight, whatever. Nobody was sleeping because nobody wanted to die. So then game 3 is Tug of War.
Sure.
Tug of War was crazy because it was on this bridge, basically, that was really, really high up, maybe 200 feet up, whatever.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And you basically just pulled until the other team fell off, and then...
A guillotine would come down and cut the rope.
And you had to hope that guillotine was going to cut that rope so that it didn't pull you over, too. It was kind of nuts.
Or you had the strength to hold...
To hold it, yeah. So, so, like, what, like 30 people were gone at that point?
Yeah.
Like 30 people gone.
And
insane.
And somehow, again... The old man has a magic strategy somehow. I don't know how. That's crazy. So then we go on to... I mean, there's always something happening in between these games. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff going on in between.
There really is no dead moments for the plot.
No, not really. No. And different people are aligning with people to try to stay as safe as possible.
We have to backtrack a little bit here.
Okay.
as they're going back to the game the second time, the cops snuck onto the boat that you find out they're all being shipped onto while being in the van.
Right. Then you as the viewer see where they're going.
Right.
And the cop like snuck,
Snuck
under the van
Yes.
and rode on, and then he winds up killing one of the red guys and
Throwing
taking
him overboard.
his uniform.
Throwing them overboard with his ID, which
Right.
is important.
Right. So he gets in that way to try to find out what's going on, because he knows that his brother went there because his brother had the card
Right.
that everybody called to get into the game. So he knows his brother is or was there.
Right.
Okay, so what was game 4?
Game 4. So you had,
That was marbles.
yes.
Oh my gosh. The marbles.
Yep.
So everybody had to team up with one other person.
Oh, before marbles, the cop wound up doing a lot of detective. Do we want to cover that at all? Because there's so much with the cop.
There's almost too much.
It feels kind of important to cover it to a
but
degree.
it's almost not important in the game scenario of it.
Sure.
But we can speed. We don't have to do that right now. We can speed through that.
I was gonna say we'll circle back when it gets to
and we'll speed
the end.
Yeah, and we'll
Okay.
speed through that real quick.
Okay,
so,
cool. So yeah, then it's marbles.
Right. So everybody had to team up with one other person. You had to be in teams of 2. And there was an odd number of people. And this one girl, she was really nuts, but nobody wanted her. So they thought automatically she's going to die. After the marble game, they find out she didn't die. She was basically safe that entire time.
We should talk about the marble game itself.
We will talk about that. I just wanted to put that out there. That this one person, odd person, wound up not having to do anything, and they stayed safe. They were like chilling in their bed. So the marble thing, it was like a little town kind of setup with like alleys and stuff. And it was reminiscent of where they were from.
Well, where a couple of them were from.
So anyway, Guillaume's friend, his childhood friend, paired up with
Abdul.
Right, the Pakistani guy, because they were friends. Like they had a little group that was together.
Yeah.
And the 2 girls in that group also paired up together.
Yep.
And then Guillaume and the old man paired up together.
Yes.
And then other people, there was a husband and wife that were both there playing together, and they paired up together as a team.
Which is when you
come to find out, they weren't teams at all.
No, they were.
You were playing against them. So the person you're playing against, either they die or you do. And it was absolutely horribly sad. I was absolutely like floored. Because I was just like, okay, either Guillaume's friend, or
just keep talking. Okay. Keep talking.
Either Guillaume's friend or Abdul was gonna die. Either Guillaume or the old man was gonna die. So yeah, that was really, really super sad. And then the husband and wife, you knew that one of them was gonna die.
Keep talking. Oh, well,
yeah. You ripping it out of my hand that fast.
So a bunch of people.
I don't know if that's gonna be possible.
Yes, no, it's fine. I got it.
Okay, whatever.
So yeah, a bunch of stuff winds up. A bunch of people wind up dying. Gi-hoon and his, group die and whatever.
Abdul winds up dying in this, and he was actually conned by Guillaume's friend, and it was so stinking sad.
And he
was not a nice guy,
and you could tell he trusted him.
Yeah, it was so sad. And then the old man winds up dying, or let's say losing. So it was just so stinking sad. Is this not working?
No, I'm doing it on my account.
Okay. Oh, because I can do it here.
No, I've got it. Just
Oh, okay.
keep the show going. I'll take care of this.
So you can report too.
I know what I can
Gotcha.
do.
So okay, so that was the marble. So you figure half of the people that went into the marble game are gone now. So now we're down to 16. Now we're down to 16 people at that point.
Oh my god.
So down to 16 and game 5.
Now, they never say what this is directly tied to.
Right.
However,
game 5 was
it's pretty heavily implied that it's like the most extreme version of hopscotch.
kind of like a hopscotch,
Yeah.
a bridge that was maybe 200 feet in the air or so, maybe lower, whatever. And there were glass panels.
On both sides.
But they, like, it wasn't all the way across. So it was like one and then one and one and one, you know. That was intense. That was the most intense game.
So we didn't even explain what the hell the game was. Basically, 2 walkways of glass, and select panels are tempered glass, whereas the other ones will break very easily. And so therefore, if you step on a bad panel, you're going to fall through. Gi-hoon, his best friend, and the female were the last 3 in the pecking order. They got very fortunate.
Yes, because they don't know what the game is, and they had to choose their order before going in. And
all the middle slots got taken prior to even knowing that.
Right. So Guillaume was going to go for the first slot, and somebody asked if they could have it instead. So he gave it to him and wound up taking the last spot, which was better.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny because even that character had a very fitting end. He had a straightforward character arc. So it's so weird. Like, every person in the show felt like they had an arc going of some kind. It wasn't just this person's a throwaway character or anything like that. You actually kind of got a good sense for everybody's lifestyle and everything like that. So I'm very happy with, like, the writing is crazy impressive.
Yeah, for sure. So I know the one thing that we were okay, the one thing that we were talking about with that particular game 5 was that we were kind of surprised that nobody used their shoes to figure out which pane of glass.
I was gonna say, which is, oh yeah, you had to take your shoes off. Which, by the way, I just like to point out, I kind of brought to her attention. And
the shoe thing?
Yeah, and then she got mad.
Yeah, I mean, like, dudes, how come you didn't just carry your shoes with you and then ask for everybody's shoes? You could have gotten just about everybody over.
You could have gotten everybody over.
Instead, you had 3... you had only 3 people survive that entire thing.
I just realized I'm pretty sure they even said there's exactly twice as many panels to cross as there were people.
Yep. And they said that 2 people could go on one tempered glass spot.
Right. But my thing is, if there's twice as many panels as there are people, you need 1 shoe a panel.
1 shoe per panel.
They had that planned, and no one thought of it. 100%.
Yeah, man, that stinks,
anyway,
man.
I'm just happy I
So,
things.
So okay, so 3 people make it through that.
And at this point, VIPs are watching them.
Yeah, which is, I mean, not really.
No, but the banter was great, and I think they deserve to be recognized.
Yeah, the VIP banter was fantastic. It was funny. But yeah, so then the last game, so basically the girl winds up getting injured because the bridge shatters at the end. It gets blown apart, and a piece of glass winds up in her side. And
which she tries to hide.
Yeah, she tries to hide it, and she winds up, she's basically dying, and Guillaume's friend goes and kills her when his back is turned. He's trying to get help for her. So then in the sixth game, it is the Squid Game, which is described to you in the very first episode, very first scene. They tell you what Squid Game is. So it's just a childhood game, and they basically have to play it to the death.
Yeah, and then they also follow it up with, an explanation there as well.
And I have to go potty.
Yeah, man. So this last game is really tense because now Gi-hun kind of hates his friend given the circumstances, and he even tries to be the bigger person. So basically, Ji-hun will go and make his first move, which draws him pretty much right up next to his best friend, who is trying to murder him with a knife that the employees gave all three of them after the meal. All they left was the knife for them to take. And the worst part is Gi-hun had already grabbed, or Ji-hun had already grabbed a fistful of sand. Oh my God. You're going to destroy this podcast, Cat. He already grabbed a fistful of sand to throw in his face. So he throws it in his face, throwing him off balance. And at this point, he has now crossed the point where he can stand on both feet. So now it comes to the final showdown. They both have their knives out. Ji-hun gets stabbed in the leg and I believe once in the stomach, if I'm not mistaken. And then he follows that up by biting a chunk of meat out of his friend's ankle, spitting it out, and then stabbing right next to his head. Basically showing he's not going to kill him. By the way, the cinematography through everything that happens in the show is phenomenal and cannot speak highly of that enough. Finally, he gets ready to claim victory. There's an employee ready to shoot his best friend. He doesn't step into the square, into the final area. Instead, he starts walking back. He starts walking back toward his best friend. And he's like, clause number 3. If the majority of players say they don't want to play, the game can end. And they kind of are like, he really wants to end it right now. He's on the precipice of victory, and he wants to end it. And his best friend kind of makes that choice for him by stabbing himself in the throat, which kind of was a good send-off for that character. So really, like, there's no good person involved here at all. There are a couple good people making bad decisions, but there's no real good hero. There's no hero in this story. And so now the game's over. Ji-hun had won at $46 million or $1 billion or something like that. Some absurd. Well, it's not dollars. It's won. But 46 billion won. And in doing so, he is set free. Now at this point, I think this is where I'm going to backtrack a little bit, because you have all the cops storyline that has finished up right a little bit before this point. And I think this is a good point to kind of round off his story and then finish off what happened after the fact.
What were you just saying? You talking about the cop?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I think you need to talk about the cop, because I just thought of something. So, real quick with the cop. So he goes in, he takes one of the uniforms. Now, everybody's face that works there is all covered. So they wouldn't know that, this is a different person. I mean, they were figuring it out. But so he took on a couple of different roles.
Yes.
And eventually he gets into like this kind of like a file room and archives where
Yes.
there's all of these books from many, many, many years.
Uh-huh.
And he does go into...
They're all books of winners.
They're all books of, well, everybody. And then, and it has the winner for each year or whatever. So, he finds his brother,
and he was a winner.
And he was a winner. He was not X'd out.
Yes.
So, he's trying to figure this out.
He has hope now.
Yeah. So he's running around looking. He's taking videos and pictures and things. He gets out and he escapes. And then he takes a scuba tank and he goes to this other island. He gets a hold of his police chief or whatever. And, he's trying to tell him, look, I need this ASAP, whatever. We need Coast Guard. We need everything. And
now
he sends him videos and pictures that he took.
Yes.
What's his name? Frontman?
Yes.
So the frontman has
tracked him.
Yeah, his people tracked him and he came over and they basically find him on this island and he's running and he comes to a cliff and he has to stop. So he's standing there and the frontman comes up, takes off his mask, tells him to turn around. It's his brother. And it was very, very cool. His brother kills him. He falls off the cliff. But here's something interesting is that the police chief that he sent all that stuff to, hello?
We don't know if it ever got sent.
That's true. We don't know that it ever sent. That is true.
And he had his phone on him when he got shot. So
yeah,
if it didn't send before he hit the water,
right,
then
that's true. So maybe nothing.
But something will still come of that eventually.
Yeah.
Because he had a call with him at one point, and it was all really bad. So I'm sure that was being tracked to some degree.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say what they
can
sort
definitely, they can definitely play into it. If and when they do a second season, which they heavily hint at, which we will get to. However, they where was I going with that? Damn. So yeah, the police officer gets shot, falls off the cliff into the water. The front man, who is his brother, goes back and seems like he might be a little haunted by what he did. I'm not entirely sure what that one scene was all about. He's kind of looking in the mirror, and you hear a gunshot go off, and he recoils as if he just got shot. So I don't know if that was meant to be artistic flair. It kind of came across that way to me. And then he looks up in the mirror, and it's his brother looking at him, and he just says, "Why?" So very, very interesting.
Okay, so then Guillaume is out, and he finds that his mother has passed away and all that, and then we fast forward to a year later.
Yes.
And he goes and he get the girl that he was with. He goes and he gets.
Well, it's all right. So when he was still in the game, the girl made him promise that they would take care of the loved ones. Blah blah blah.
Right. Again, and his friend also. Well,
there's so much detail.
I know, but his friend also said, "Please take care of my mom." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so he went to get the girl's brother. And he brought the brother to his friend's mother. So they could, basically then they were both taken care of and he gave them like half the money. And this was a year later. So he's getting ready to go see his daughter in America because her mother and her and the new husband or whatever moved to America. So he was getting ready to do this. And he sees another guy on the other train platform getting smacked around by the same guy that smacked him around for that game that Dan was telling you about. So he runs over there because he wants to stop him, and he got the card. He took the card from the guy.
And he goes, "What the hell,
He goes,
man?"
yeah, he
And
goes to the airport, and he decides he's going to call the number. And he's like, "Well, there was something."
Whoa, yeah,
I went too
you
far
went
forward.
way too far. Real quick, before he gets to the train station, I think it's worth mentioning, he takes the girl that he was talking with, daughter, sets her up with his best friend's mother because...
I said that. And
oh,
it was
okay, I didn't remember you saying that.
And it was the daughter, it was the brother.
Oh, yeah,
the
sorry,
brother.
Yeah, brother.
Oh, I forgot. All in between that, he's sitting there and he's feeling all down in the dumps prior to doing these good things. And so he purchases a flower from somebody that has a card attached to it. So the card gives an address and a time, and he goes there, and it's like an apartment or hotel room or something. Anyway, it's a room, and he goes in there, and it's the old man that he played marbles with and thought he killed. And it turns out that the old man is the guy behind the scenes. He's the guy that was running the game. The guy with the freaking brain tumor that's going to explode any minute.
And
he just goes through the whole explanation of why he did it and all of this.
Basically, he was bored and humanity is awful.
Right.
He also wanted to give people a quote-unquote second chance, which is where a lot of the jigsaw stuff comes into play for me.
Right, and he wanted to feel alive before he died.
Well, that's why he was playing the game.
That's why he was playing, right?
Yes.
So, Guillaume at that point decides, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do good at this point.
Yeah, what I do think is worth mentioning, one more tiny thing. He winds up also tricking Guillaume into stooping down to his level and basically betting on human life.
Right.
Which is very interesting. Nothing in this show has been by accident.
Right.
So I'm very, very, very happy with this show.
Yeah. So yeah, that whole thing, I might actually have to watch that whole scene again because it was incredible. But yeah, so Guillaume then decides that he is going to go get this girl's brother and take him to be with his friend's mother and give them all of this money and basically take care of them. And then he's going to go off to America. Well, he decides just as he's like going down the corridor there to go to the plane, to get on the plane, he decides he's going to call the number. And he's like, he gave his, because they want you to give your name and your birth date, whatever. So he did that. And they said, oh, player 456 or whatever it was. And he said, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Like, he was like interrogating them. And they're like, well, player 456, you need to get on that plane and forget about it.
Well, I don't think he was really interrogating. It was more so, listen, I'm not a horse for you to bet on.
Right.
You're going to listen to me. And he's like, for your own good, you ought to get on that plane.
Get on the plane 456.
Which, the whole reason he was getting on a plane to begin with is to see his daughter, who is now in America, who he may never see again. So I was screaming when I saw that. Yeah,
so long story short, he didn't get on the plane. He turned around. He hung up the phone and he turned around. So I believe season 2.
I'm trying to remember what happened in that, because I'm pretty sure he said like one smart-ass comment before hanging up. I can't remember what it was, but regardless.
Yeah, I mean something, but so it just makes me wonder, where is season 2 going to go? Is he going to try to stop the games from happening? Is he, what is he doing?
I mean,
is he going to play again?
No, he's not going to play again. He doesn't like the games. That's the thing. He wants them gone. Because
I can't remember. Didn't the voice on the phone tell him? I know they said get on the plane for your own good, but didn't they say something about like?
They said something along the lines of "Don't meddle in my affairs." um, you should get on that plane for your own good.
Right, you should get on that plane for your own good was definitely one of the lines, but I thought there was something else. But
I can look it up.
But yeah, it was Squid Game was amazing. It was amazing. I know that
Well,
we got very detailed, and
there's a lot of detail,
and I know there's a lot of
well.
detail. Well, absolutely, but
so feel free to watch.
We certainly cannot retell the entire thing step by step, which we pretty much did.
I mean, we definitely could if we did it in video format.
But before we go,
well, also,
what
were you gonna say? I'll get in my thing in a second because I just wanted to tack something on.
I want to know: did you? Okay, so what do you think was the most brutal game or intense game that they played out of the 6 games? Now, the last one kind of counts. It doesn't really count, I don't think, but
I think the last one was the most brutal. I think the most emotional was probably the marbles.
Marbles was very emotional.
Just not for the same reason everyone else did. I knew from game 1 the old man was
see, I didn't know that the old man was the leader there. I didn't know he was the one running the game, so I was absolutely devastated.
I had him pegged from the beginning. I mean, yeah, anyway, I have my reasons for that. But and then you follow that up with I'm sorry. Let me just make sure this is real before I mention this.
What's that?
Season 2 trailer? Which
really?
I don't think it's real. Just hold on. It's not real. I'm pretty sure this is fake. Yeah, this is fan made. There's no way. They're reusing scenes from season 1. Okay. So anyway.
Okay, for some reason this is looking frozen on here. Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, because you're not playing.
Okay, no, I thought it was.
Anyway, so anyway, I can't find it. So yeah, the marbles thing, and so speaking of marble game, this is why I think the cop's brother being bilingual is a massive plot point.
Okay.
Because every shot was so masterfully crafted that nothing was by accident. At the end of the marble game, when you hear that gunshot go off, if you're looking in between the slits of the fence, which I know most people weren't, I was because I was curious, the old man wasn't even in the shot anymore. And then when they pan out cleaning up the bodies, his body wasn't there. Initially, I thought, all right, maybe that one was accidental. Maybe that was an editing mistake. Let me see.
See, I didn't pay attention to any of that. But
so when the next episode began and they do the pan out shot again, and he's still not there, I knew it was on purpose. So all that intention makes me think.
Well, here's the thing. So I think, of course, the most emotional one was definitely,
I think
the marble one. I think the most shocking one was the first one, just because it was like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? But the most intense game, I think, was game 5. The glass
I think
bridge.
that was the most stressful.
For me, that was super intense.
I think the most brutal by far was 6. That was
well, because it was just the two of them. I'm like, I mean, you know what? Like, I don't know, hand-to-hand
you
combat.
You knew what was gonna happen, sure,
right.
But like, it doesn't change how rough that was to watch.
So, I hope that there is a season 2. I hope they have a really great story for season 2.
I hope season 2, because I would be surprised if it didn't get one. I hope season 2 follows up on just some of the minutia that definitely wasn't being played on as much. Because I really want to know why his brother's bilingual. Was he in America at one point? Clearly someone was. I bet what it is he had to be a translator. When he won the game that he was a part of, and the old man realized Ilson realized that he could speak both languages. He saw the advantage and took advantage of it immediately. Like there's anyway. And again, if you guys know what I'm referencing as far as like why it's so familiar to Saul, let me know if I'm the only one that felt that way. But it screamed Saul to me. Like it was.
Well,
it's basically the whole plot of like the fourth Saw movie, if I have the order correct.
Well, anyway, I thought it was great. If you haven't seen it, you know, if it sounds like it might be your cup of tea, you should go watch it for sure. But yeah, I mean, I liked it. The ending didn't bother me. I liked the ending. It was a little bit, I was going, what are you doing? What the heck?
I know,
but I also know that that's the way that season 2 is being set up.
Yeah, I know I was screaming about how much I hate the ending. And I think a lot of people say they hate the ending and they don't actually, kind of like I did. It just felt... his character arc was so good and I was ready for his story to be over. I wanted him to finally get his... and he didn't.
Well, and I mean, for a whole year, he was basically depressed.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, it wasn't until a year later that he got his hair cut.
Yeah.
You know,
I really wanted him to be able to move on, you know?
Right,
that would have been the perfect send-off.
But maybe this is his,
He wants to feel like he can do something good. And
yeah.
I can definitely appreciate that. It's just very frustrating when you know... character was right there, and what the hell is he gonna say to his daughter?
I know.
He just abandoned his daughter
basically. Again. Not that he didn't really abandon her the first time, but even still, it's like, man, you got to stop. Your daughter's just gonna kick your ass.
And every decision that had been made throughout the whole series had so much weight on it. Especially like the little brother going to the mother. He basically just replaced 2 whole families in one move.
Right.
And that is like so oddly hard to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was awesome. I mean, it was good that he did, and he gave them all this money, and
it's great. Like, it's great that he did it. It's just really hard to watch because you know he's not going to say anything.
Yeah, that's the other thing is he didn't tell anybody what he went through. He didn't tell anybody, you know, that these people died.
Yeah, like, it's so absurd. And maybe that really is what he needs as a character to fully develop, is to have everything ended and then aired to the public. Because otherwise, he can never truly talk about it.
Well, hopefully there will be a season 2, maybe next year. Who knows?
Also, how many...
2 years?
So, we were actually kind of talking about this earlier. How many years was this going on for?
Well, that's the thing is we didn't pay attention, but that room was pretty big with all those books.
And how many people died without anyone really knowing? That's ridiculous. And by the way they fund... we didn't even talk about this. The way they fund the whole game is by selling organs on the black market. So
well, we think.
It's pretty heavily implied. Because it's definitely not the VIPs. They are just there.
Right, but I think... but the old man on his deathbed was talking about he just likes to give money away, etc., etc. So I think it was his money.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
But I think that the selling the organs, I think that was the workers there trying to get a little extra money.
Maybe.
I think that's what that was about. Also,
I love that they gave the girl that came in third, they actually burned her. And maybe that's because the doctor wasn't there anymore. Or maybe it was because they didn't feel like they could salvage anything. But I'm really happy they didn't just harvest her. I would have been heartbroken because they kind of show the casket still. Had they shown the casket and you see it, the floor drop out, I would have been devastated. That would have messed me up.
I'm just trying to see.
You come to love this character after all the like ridiculous kind of badassery that she goes through. And by the way, the way certain things were handled were actually fairly realistic. As far as like we didn't even talk about it. She goes in the bathroom, climbs into the vent. What she saw was big, but it was only big for 20-30 minutes because at that point it was just a part of the next game.
Right.
So seeing something that you think is this potentially big deal only to have it kind of be nothing at the end of the day is huge. Also, they didn't kill Gi-hun, not Gi-hun. They didn't kill the cop's brother, which is something I'm very surprised about. Because the whole thing is if you show your face, once they know who you are, you're supposed to be killed. So why wasn't he killed? There had to be, everyone had to have known that it was him and the old man at the top. They had to have been the only two whose faces were shown. Or something of that nature.
So there's a lot here.
About what?
Like theories and stuff like that as far as like who would...
Gotcha.
What the plot could be for season 2.
Gotcha.
But season 2, you know, obviously hasn't been announced yet, but it's being talked about. So, I think we are done.
Yeah, I mean,
we both love Squid Game. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out on Netflix.
Real quick, just off topic. If you guys want, we could just do like series breakdowns like this on the channel in general and just have them be normal videos and it'd be a lot easier to do, honestly. So if you guys want that, let us know.
You mean like just to make them videos opposed to podcasts?
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to do. And that doesn't mean we'll stop doing them on the podcast.
Right.
But
so,
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
All right. Well, with all of that being said, once again, in the beginning of this podcast, I forgot to remind you guys, if you are new around here, don't forget to subscribe. We appreciate all of our newest subscribers. We got a few more this week, and that feels amazing. I really appreciate you guys being here. I've got some vlogs coming out for you guys. I got at least 2 backed up that I haven't edited yet, and I got to get that done. So you're going to get a tad more Fright Fest coming at you in the next week, hopefully, once I get that done. And then we'll be going full swing in another week. It's only a week away, Holiday in the Park.
That was a good podcast.
Yeah, that was fun. But we have got to roll.
Yeah.
You guys have a great weekend and a fantastic week. We hope that you enjoyed this week's podcast. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you thought of Squid Game. And until then, guys, we will see you next week. Bye.